Okay, all right. First of all, I know our coaches and our players are excited for Fan Day. Get a chance to see our fans. Since first time since the spring game. Also last night, it was a big honor of mine. We were able to give 6 of our walk-on scholarships, and that's always a special time, for our staff and myself. There was probably 8 or 9 I felt like deserved it, but we gave 6 out. Will Hastings, Griffin King, Gary Walker, Chase Ritter, Keenan Swinney, and Tucker Brown, all 6 got scholarships, and it was a real special moment. Of course, I was a former walk-on myself, so I can completely relate to that group, and it was a great night. Their teammates were very excited for those guys, and most of those guys will help us this year, on the field. We scrimmaged today. Really, it was a focus as far as our special teams are concerned. It was a lot of ones-on-ones with our special teams. We did kickoff return, punt, return. We did some more live field goal situations, which I think is always good. We did a couple 2-minute situations, good on good, which is always good, not just for players, but for coaches in the different situations that come down to the end of the game. We also did, before the scrimmage started, did a 3rd down emphasis, good on good, and then we put the ball down. Once we put the ball down, there was some 1s that went, all the 2s went, all the 3s went, and it's kind of that final scrimmage to show some of those guys on the border right there. Are they ready to take the next step, to help our team, or they need a little more time? So it was a really good day for that. At the very end, we divided up offense and defense and just did some special situations, as far as the games, the procedures on and off the field, the communication on the sideline, and everything that goes with that. But overall, I thought it was a very good day, and like I said, our players and myself were looking forward to Fan Day. Questions?
Justice, how has Jared handled the week since being named the starter? How does he look at various points of food today?
Yeah, he's he was already a good leader, kind of like I've said before, but just that's his offense now, and just everything that goes with it. I thought he's really raised his level as far as that's concerned, but that is to be expected when you name a starting quarterback. But he's handled himself very well so far.
Has anything changed to the number 3 tailback situation?
Not. The good thing I'll tell you right now, we've had numerous discussions this week and the week before that, we have depth at that position. And today, I know Coach Horton and Coach Lindsey had some different things. They wanted to look at a couple of different people at different situations. And to answer your question, we're not ready to say who the number 3 guy is, but I'm not going to take that as a bad thing at all. I think we got very good competition there. We got guys that we feel like we can put in the game and they can be effective. So, I think we learned last year you can never have enough depth, at the tailback position.
You got selection. Could the number 3 guy depend on the circumstances? Could it be one guy in one circumstance and another guy?
That is a possibility. That if one's stronger in another area than that, that's something they have talked about. Ideally, you'd like to have, that guy that's a 3rd guy that can do it all, but, that is a possibility.
When you're looking at those guys, Devin and Malik are very different kinds of tailbacks, right? It's tough to kind of compare apples to oranges with those guys, right?
Yeah, and of course, you look at KJ and Petway, they're pretty different too, and of course, you look back at, Trey Mason and Cameron Ars Payne and Corey Grant, they were all different. So, history shows that being different is really good for us, and we can use them in different situations like the question was just asked, so I look at that as a positive.
Can you talk about your kickoff return guys, who's grouping back there?
It's the same guys that we've been doing. We've got probably 6 guys that have been rotating. I'm not ready to say who our starters are going to be, but I'd say we got 6 guys that can go back there and field it, and I think can execute at a high level.
Because you and Chip have both been very complimentary of Noah. With John moving on, how much more reps has he gotten the last couple of days in practice?
Even before that, he got a lot of reps. He really caught our eye early. He's got a skill set. He's very explosive. He's got a lot of reps probably the last week and a half, which is good. We got a lot of good information the last 2 scrimmages. He got an opportunity to get in there and show what he could do. He will help us this year. He is one of the guys, I'll tell you right now, that will help us. He just needs experience, but he does have a good attitude, and he's eager. And just needs to, when he gets in there and if he touches, you got to protect the football. That's kind of what the stress goes from a coach's standpoint with the young guys, even if they're talented enough to play, especially early in the season, just protecting that football.
Gus, have you guys settled on your offensive line, top guys? And also, how about the 2 grad transfers? How are they doing?
Yeah, matter of fact, the 2 grad transfers you're going to get a chance to talk to here in just a little bit. I'm not ready to say right now who our starting 5 is going to be. That is not a bad thing, but like I've said before, there's, when we've been really good on the offensive line, we put a guy in a position and let them get good and communicate. And so there's great competition. That's the positive, but it's getting where we got to start putting the pieces of the puzzle, and that'll happen this coming week. There's no doubt, but it's a good thing that we've got 7 guys, possibly 8, that we feel confident we can put them in and execute the plays, but we need to get that done here in the near future.
You talked about the difference in the long preseason and the practice schedule with the NCAA and things like that, how it's changed. Is that going to have any impact on your practice schedule once classes get started?
No, we'll get in a routine once, this week, once school starts. We'll get in our game week routine. We'll do that for 2 weeks. And I think that'll be good. It's been a long 3 weeks, but a good, productive 3 weeks. I think our kids have handled it very well. We've been fortunate as far as any major injuries, and we've been very physical, so that is a very good thing. Getting ready for school to start, and once you start game planning and getting very specific, that's when school starts. So I think our players and our coaches are both looking forward to that start.
Gus, Wilson Bell specifically, when Braden was at right tackle, you had him rotating at right guard. With Braden at right guard now, back at that position, is Wilson spending significant time at the left guard position?
No, I think Wilson's just playing right guard right now. I think, he's one of the new guys, coming in. We're just trying to be very simple with the new guys and let them get set in one position and give them the best chance of being successful. The older guys, we have moved around, but we feel like they got a very good foundation of what we expect and what we do and all that.
So at this point, if Austin and Braden are solidified in the starting lineup, whatever it may be, at the center and right guard spot, then Casey and Wilson would be their backups at center and right guard.
I'm not ready to say that, and that's not, we're not near that point. But like I said just a minute ago, this week we need to start putting the piece of the puzzle. And those 2 guys they're in that group that I was talking about.
Mike Horton done a pretty good job of solidifying himself. And
Mike Horton's improved. There's no doubt. Mike Horton's a smart guy. He played last year and in our heavy package, and we thought he did a very good job. And he's matured and he's taking that next step. So we got a lot of confidence in Mike, and I think he's going to be a very good player for us.
What type of preseason has Will Hastings had, and talk about the receivers, how they're coming onto the route?
Yeah, I think Will's had a very good fall camp. I mean, of course, he's one of the guys we put on scholarship. He's excited about that. I think he's one of the guys we're going to talk to today too. So he's done a good job, and he's gotten better.
Yes, you mentioned Noah as one of the freshmen that you thought were going to play. Anybody else you feel pretty sure that is going to help you as true freshmen?
I think there's quite a few that's going to help us. But that's a good thing. If you look back at 2010, 2013, there's quite a few true freshmen that played and really helped us on special teams too. Not just gave us depth on offense and defense, but special teams too. So there's going to be quite a few.
I was going to ask you, Gus, with all the linebackers in front of him that are returning, is special teams somewhere where TD could actually help you immediately? Do you feel
Yeah, TD, and then some others, others freshmen could help us on special teams too. And that's always good too, because those young guys, especially until they get enough experience, special teams is a great place to get some experience on.
Gus, you had several injured defensive players over the past week. Was Marlon, Andrew, Daniel Thomas, Trey Matthews, were any of those guys able to come back?
Yeah, matter of fact, all of them are back in some capacity that's out there doing something. Every one of those guys we expect to be ready for game 1. And you know, anytime you go through fall camp and it's physical, you're gonna have some nicks and stuff like that. But I tell you what it does, it also helps you develop depth. And it gives some guys that maybe with the twos get a chance to see how they respond with the ones. And, you know, those guys that you just talked about, all of them have experience, game experience, so our coaches know a lot about what they're gonna get. So, you know, I think that'll be a blessing as far as moving forward in the season and, you know, get that experience, because there's nothing like being out there with the first group and seeing how they respond. So.
Yes, Jason Smith moved to safety. A couple of those guys banged up, is giving him a lot more reps. How's he
Yeah,
done?
Jason's got a lot of reps now. I mean, he has got a whole lot of reps, and I think he's done some good things. You know, one thing that stands out to me, he's got a nose for the ball now. He's one of those heat-seeking missiles now. He'll go, and he's got courage, and I think he's gotten better at tackling, and he's got a lot of experience, and he's kind of one of those guys that I was talking about with that last question, that it's really helped him.
Gus, who's, with John gone, who's the Batman holder?
What's Batman?
We're doing this again.
I don't know. What's
Your
Batman?
two-point conversion, who is the quarterback in the two-point conversion?
We have a field goal team that we have a regular guy that holds, and we got a guy that kicks, and we got some guys that protect.
You referred to the receiver group as a group most of the preseason. Has any guys started separating themselves as
The receiver group?
Yeah, as a go-to guy for Jarrett?
I'm not ready to say that we have a one go-to guy, but I will say that group has improved. As a whole, they've improved. You know, during fall camp, I know Coach Burns has trained that group, been very demanding on them. Coach Lindsey has too. But I'm not ready to say like one guy right now, but the group has improved.
Hey, talking about Will Hastings a little bit more, Gus. I mean, some of the numbers he's put up in the training, the 10-yard sprint, the 20-yard sprint, some of the best on the team, if not the best you all have recorded.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by how good of an athlete he's turned out to be?
Yeah, you know, when he first got here, you know, he comes from a program that doesn't punt and they onside kick every time, and he was like an onside kick specialist. And so we got him in really specifically for that, and I think we gave him 2 opportunities. He was 0 for 2, and we fired him. We moved him to wide receiver, and that's when he's really blossomed. And he is super quick. You know, he can come in and out of cuts as good as anybody I've seen. And he showed some toughness, and you know, he's earned the right to be on scholarship and to have a chance to help us.
Do you have any plans to punt? You ever thought about doing some of those things that they do at that school?
What's that?
You ever think about not punting?
Not punting?
Being that gutsy?
You know what? I've really never thought about it. No, we need to punt when it's appropriate.